Hey friends. Well, as of just a little while ago, turns out I am not the only cast member of MacGyver to currently have COVID. Someone else tested positive. Real shame, not a real surprise. And, I think the production is wrestling with this right now, and it's probably going to cause a little hiccup in our performance schedule. These are the times we live in. Luckily, the person is completely asymptomatic and seems totally healthy, but they tested positive. So that's enough to take them out. So, been wrestling with that today, and as I was getting ready to pounce back into the show, felt like I've been bouncing off the walls all day today. I've been like sleeping for days. I'm so well rested, I can't even contain my energy anymore. And now it may be somewhat longer before I go back to the show than I thought. Anyway, that's sort of a sidebar, I think, in my post for the day, because well, it's a sidebar, but it's not. It's weirdly also part of just my general experience right now of just being pointed so much in the direction of, what's my it's something that's come up over the last day or two as I've come through the sort of thick of it. For days 1 and 2 and really most of 3 that I had COVID, I just wanted to rest. And I couldn't really even distinguish between leftover fatigue from the last several months of kind of being in an all-out sprint and the actual illness, the actual, battling the virus fatigue, which seems like it's one of the most universally reported symptoms of COVID. But as I came out of that, it was like, I think I mentioned this yesterday and maybe even a little day before, it's like my mind was just exploding with ideas. I was like, oh, I know how to rewrite Act 2. Give me the script. Let me get to work. It was like I had this abundance of energy, and it was like my 3-day, 4-day COVID bubble of essentially just sleeping and puttering around, making some food around the house and whatnot, had been a meditation where the thoughts and the emotions that had sort of gotten imprinted and gotten a little stuck in the system over the course of the last several months, they just kind of burned away. They just kind of, there was agitation there, and I experienced it as agitation. But I experienced it in the same way that I experience agitation in meditation, which is there's activity that is distracting me from peace. Stillness and peace are everywhere. They're the substrate of everything. Literally, the world is made of them. And then there's this agitation that keeps drawing my focus, and it's on the surface, and it's hard to deny, it's hard to suppress, and it's just there. And in meditation, the practice, obviously, as most of us know, is you sit and you let it be there, and then by letting it be there, it begins to exhaust itself, and it runs out of energy. It stops. It runs out of track. And little by little, what remains is the peace underneath. And then we have more access to it, and it's not that we're any more connected to the peace and stillness that is the substrate of everything. We've always been connected to it. It's just that we don't have that layer of dissociation from it that's due to all the agitation. And that was really kind of my experience over those first couple of days, and then on day 4 yesterday and rolling into today, which is day 5 for me. See, I'm still coughing a little bit. It's like I've had this burst of creative energy starting to come through, and just like a readiness to play again. And I had a really interesting experience earlier today. I was watching, I had heard a Sadhguru video recently, and he was talking about motivation. Somebody asked him a question like, how do you stay motivated, or something really kind of simple and basic question, but he unpacked it and said, you should not be motivated. If you're motivated, that means you're miserable and you're pushing through it with motivation. If what we want to do is show up and just be a full human being. Just show up and be a full human being. If you show up as a full human being, everything will get done. And then he said something about animals, how a bird doesn't get up in the morning and like have to be motivated to sing a bird song, right? Or a squirrel doesn't have to get up in the morning and motivate itself to go out there and like find those nuts and climb those trees. So that had just kind of like, I don't even know if I might have heard that video 2 or 3 days ago. But I'm standing out here on the porch earlier today, this morning. I wake up and I go out there on the porch, and I see this squirrel. And he's jumping around. There's a little porch back here, and there's a overlook onto a tree, and like the next property over. This tree, the branches stick all the way almost into the patio here, and I'm just watching this squirrel like just dance through the tree and fly around. And what struck me, I was just mesmerized by this thing. And what I think, having been kind of primed by the Sadhguru video, and then also just being in the state that I'm in, it was like that animal is so wakeful. And I realized animals are always wakeful. There is no such thing as a groggy animal in nature. It literally doesn't exist. You might find a groggy domesticated animal, but that's different. That's like essentially a drugged animal. But in nature, every single animal is always in its state of perfect wakefulness, for whatever that means. I mean, a sloth is still going to sleep 14 hours a day. That's what a sloth does. That's a sloth's wakefulness state. An enlightened sloth sleeps all day. And it's kind of just, but watching this squirrel hop around the tree, I was like, whoa, that's what we're all supposed to be like all the time. Like we're not in like a morally supposed to be like this or that, but like in the sense of that's what's available to any living being when we are not inhibited by our own thinking. And there's another beautiful thing that Sadhguru talks about, either that video or a different one. He talks about the definition of Buddha. And Buddha, he says, Buddha, the word means two things. Bud is for buddhi, which is the intellect, and da means like da or something, which means beyond. So a Buddha is someone who's beyond the intellect. A Buddhu is a human being that has not yet gotten caught in the intellect, that is not yet really engaging deeply in the intellect, but also is not trapped in the intellect. But most of us human beings, no surprise, we're trapped in our mind. We're trapped in the intellect, and that's where that layer of grogginess comes from. That's the only possible place it can come from, is from being trapped in that thought quicksand. And so I'm watching this squirrel just be a perfect squirrel. Like, have you ever seen an imperfect squirrel? Have you ever seen a squirrel at the park that like didn't know how to squirrel? It's like there's this ease. It's an ease, and at the same time, it's total vulnerability, like total and absolute availability to the moment. There's no barrier to the moment. We're not the mind is what filters the moment, and what prejudges the moment, and what tries to anticipate, good things are coming, bad things are coming. Here's what I want to do to create good things to come, or make sure bad things don't come, or that's the mind. But just what I think, again, I'm waking up on like day 5 of COVID. I've had lots of sleep. I'm like high on sleep, and I'm watching this animal just be so perfect. And it's like there's a part of me that's kind of also, I think, wanting to remember that, wanting to recall that is my natural state, and to really take that realization seriously, not just take that as a kind of I don't know, a spiritual aphorism that you might find on a refrigerator magnet, like, which it also is, but it's that, and it's also a deep, profound truth that has such an impact if we actually let it in. So yeah, that's my day has been a kind of juggling of that, and opening the door to that. And as I get my energy back, I'm also looking at like, okay, well, now where does it want to go? There's one of my favorite philosophers of all time, Ken Wilber, is really has been really meticulous about looking at how the mind, the intellect, this dimension of consciousness, how and why it's so interesting to us, fascinating to us, so seductive, so dangerous to get trapped there. And again, I almost feel like, you know, my COVID experience was like being unplugged from the matrix for just very, very suddenly. Like Monday came, COVID positive, not going anywhere for a few days. And then I'm just like, you know, then I'm knocked out and I'm having fever dreams for 3 days. And then little by little, I'm coming back online in my energy and my faculties, but I'm not in the same place that I was. I'm just not. And that's really exciting to feel and to kind of to just track, to realize, oh, I'm here now. I'm at a place where I can watch a squirrel hop around a tree for 15 minutes uninterrupted and be fascinated by it. You know, it's like there's a wakefulness in that I'm really appreciating, and that I'm also kind of like, and now I'm looking at like, what, okay, as I go into the next couple days, especially if it looks like I'm not rejoining the show in the next couple days, not till next week, it's like, well, what is this energy going to get up to? What is this state going to create? Because I can't just keep sleeping 16 hours a day. I'm not that tired anymore. That's exciting to think about. Stay tuned. But yeah, I know that was a bit of a rambling post. What can I say? It's day 5. I'm high off sleep, and and a lot is coming through. The world is moving fast around my little COVID bubble here. I will update you. You are my first. You will hear it here first. You are the direct line. Thank you for watching. So much love. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for this channel and for this connection. So, wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow.